Basically, I went to Vietnam because I was told to go. But it isn't that simple, almost that simple. The government had asked the office of Col Joye, the Col Joye show actually, to go, and I was part of the Col Joye show at the time. We were the second only concert to have been asked by the government to go, and it seemed a great idea at the time. Mind you, on reflection, there weren't many horrible pictures in the paper then about what a horrible war it was, so I guess that's why my parents, who also were assured by the powers that be that your daughter will be very well looked after, she won't be in any danger, and nowhere near the war really. And so off we went.
What was the best thing about Vietnam? Were there any good things about it that you liked?
I mean, philosophically there were some great things because I started to think. But the child in me loved all the great rides I had in helicopters and Caribous and Hercules, and I loved all that. I couldn't get enough helicopters.
Can you tell me about the 18th of August 1966, which was the date of the Battle of Long Tan? You're performing the troops there at that time. Can you tell me a little bit about that day in particular? What numbers you were performing, etc.?
On the day of the Battle of Long Tan, we were booked, or we were asked to do 3 concerts, which went pretty well the whole day, which would enable, in theory, everybody there to get to see our show. But we were told that we must be in the chopper and gone by 4 o'clock because there's a curfew. So we did the first 2 shows, and we did cut the 3rd show short because we're running a bit late and it was getting close to 4 o'clock, and lots of people were winding us up saying, hurry up, hurry up. And at about just literally seconds before 4 o'clock, we were standing near one of the choppers which was to take us back to Vung Tau. And anybody who's been there will tell you it rains every day, pretty well at the same time. So at 4 o'clock it rained. The chopper pilot was yelling out, hurry up everybody, because we were talking to some of the soldiers and not hurrying up. And also at the same time, lots of sirens went off. And I instinctively knew that something was going wrong, but at 17 you don't have much fear and think, oh, this is different, something must be happening with sirens. And of course that was the Battle of Long Tan was happening. We got away except for Col Joye, who, for want of a better word, was kidnapped by a jeep full of soldiers who came along. Tried to get me, actually, and I can remember they had their hands around my waist, and I was only about 6.5 stone. They could easily have gotten me, but except that the band, the Joy Boys, were stronger and pulled me away. It was all very light-hearted stuff, I might add. Not, sounds cruel perhaps, but it wasn't. And their reasoning was that they'd been out all day working, on patrol. Why should they miss out on a concert? We're going to have our own concert. So that's why they kidnapped Col.
So he stayed there overnight?
He sure did. He stayed overnight, and that was some night, which I guess he'll tell you about.
So where did you go once you flew? You went to Vung Tau. Where did you stay that night? And did you see or hear about the news of that?
We went back to Vung Tau, and I was staying separately in Vung Tau. When I say separately, the boys were staying in what they called French villas, and I was staying in supposedly a very safe place, which was the dormitory of some American doctors and nurses. And it was very lonely there, I remember that. And I went back and tried to go to sleep, but was worried about what had just happened. And nobody was telling me anything, but I knew something was really wrong. And apart from the fact that the mosquitoes are big as saucers and they loved me, ate me all the time, I wasn't able to sleep. So I stayed awake and kept, running conversation with the American soldier who was guarding the foyer of this dormitory. He was surrounded by sandbags, and he kept saying, look, you got to go back to bed, honey. You can't come and talk to me. But eventually I kept talking to him, and during the early hours of the morning, I don't know what time, some bodies arrived. And
Australian bodies?
Some Australian bodies, and that was terrible. And I realised exactly what was going on then, that I'd just left the scene of a really horrible battle.